Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to a very special program, a show that I've been asked to do numerous times over the last bunch of months, and tough list to put together. Had been kind of brewing and thinking about this for a while. We're talking guitar players, right? So everybody always wants to know, well, Pete, what are some of your favorite guitar players? Pete, who are your favorite guitar players? So I started to I wanted to do like my top 10 favorite guitar players of all time, right? That then morphed into my top 20. And then I said, all right, I'm going to just do 25. And then that list grew to 30 and 35 and 40. And then I said, well, why don't I just do a top 50? But then I knew 50 wouldn't be enough and I would have to keep going. So what I did was I kind of jotted down, instead of thinking about it to death, because I would have been doing this for weeks, I jotted down some of the most important guitar players to me personally. And I came up with a list of 45. I know. And I was going to then say, well, if I'm doing 45, I might as well do 50. But then I'm like, if I get to 50, I'm going to keep going. I said, you know what? I have a great list of 45. And there's some that didn't make this list, but these are probably the 45 guys that really, and again, I'm probably missing a few, but like I said, I didn't want to take weeks trying to come up with this. So these are 45 guys, and I've roughly been really into guitar players for about that time, that much. Okay, so I figure 45 guitar players for 45 years of me really being into guitar players. Pretty good list. It's a good starting point. Now, if your favorite guitar player is not on this list, that's okay. All right? So I know we're going to get all these people. Well, but Pete, what about this guy? And Pete, what about this guy? And Pete, I can't believe you put such and such over such and such. Let's not get hung up on where they fall on my list. My top 10 or 15 or so, pretty special. The rest of these, they're on the list, okay? They're among my favorites. It doesn't matter if one guy comes in at 35 and the other guy comes in at 17. It doesn't matter. I love all these guys. All right, so let's not get into this big hula hokey thing. I mean, people all the time complaining about, Rolling Stones top 100 guitar players of all time. And, there's a lot of suspect guys on it. But whatever, it's, a couple people's opinion. This is just my opinion. These are who I like. If there's guys that you love that are not on this list, doesn't mean I don't dig them, right? These are the guys that mean a little bit more to me, all right? So, just everybody kind of take a chill pill. If you don't see or hear what your favorites on this list, these are my guys, all right? That's what this is all about. All right, so I'm going to go from 45 and up. I'm going to name a song or two that are some of my favorites of theirs or the band that they're in or whatever that features some great guitar playing from them, right? Coming in at number 5, I had to get him on this list, terrible Ted Nugent, right? Got to have Stranglehold for me. Ted's got to be on this list somewhere. I love the old Nugent stuff. He's just a fiery player, regardless of what you think of him as a person or what have you. That early repertoire, him and the Amboy Dukes and early Ted Nugent band, killer. Number 44, Mick Taylor. I love the stuff he did with the Stones. I love some of the stuff he did with John Mayall's Blues Breakers, right? For me, his solo at the end of Time Waits for No One on That's Only Rock and Roll album is to die for. So sublime, beautiful, all right? For that solo alone, he's got to be on this list. Number 43, I love him. He's probably like the least technical guitar player of anybody on this list, but I just love him, and I love the music of this band, and he's just in-your-face rock and roll. Mark Farner from Grand Funk Railroad, Sin's a Good Man's Brother, is a perfect representation of what he brings to the table. I just love his raw playing, man. It's sloppy at times, but it's gutsy. It's got a lot of feel to it. I dig him as a player. Coming in at number 42, how about Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash? Right? God, guy's amazing. Phoenix. All right, they're a great tune from early in their career. Killer solos on that. I love the music of Wishbone Ash, and I've always loved his playing on the Flying V, man. Dig it. Coming in at number 41, newer guy, all right? This is a guy who's really been capturing my attention in the last year or two. Guthrie Govan, all right, from the Aristocrats and solo and all he's played with everybody. D-Grade Fuck Movie Jam, all right, from the latest Aristocrats album. Killer tune. God, is he good. There's nothing this guy can't do, man. I tell you, as the years go on, he's probably going to inch his way up there. Another fairly newer guy, number 40, Michael Romeo from Symphony X. What a great metal player he is. He's got a lot of background in Prague, right? The Odyssey, great tune from Symphony X. How about number 39, John Norum from Europe. He's a killer player. I dig him a lot. A good tune to check out is Scream of Anger from the early Europe album Wings of Tomorrow. That's before the Final Countdown. But a lot of the more recent stuff from Europe, great stuff. All right, sticking on the newer guys, right? Number 38, Joe Bonamassa. I love him. I don't care what anybody says about him, all right? That he's not the most original player in the world and he can mimic all these other guys and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. He's a great player. When I hear him, I know it's him. His solos just do it for me. I love the fact that he goes back and forth between rock and blues and a little bit of both, right? I love his voice. I'm a fan, all right? I'm a fan. Coming in number 37, John Petrucci from Dream Theater. How about Scene 6, Home from Scenes from a Memory? Killer. He's a amazing player. All right, coming in at number 36, how about Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin, right? Could be higher. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, he's in that bunch for me. I really dig him a lot. And The Rover, one of my favorite Zepp tunes. Okay, coming in at number 35, I know for some people might be a lot higher. For me, there's just not enough body of work, but what he did was just incredible. Randy Rhoads, okay? Diary of a Madman, my favorite Ozzy tune. Love it. Taken from us way too soon. All right, coming in at number 34, Mr. David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. Comfortably Numb, right? Anybody? Dogs from Animals, Pigs on a Wing, come on. Coming in at number 33, another veteran guy, so important. Such an important part of this band. He's not in the band anymore, but Martin Barr from Jethro Tull. Minstrel in the Gallery, anybody? Killer guitar playing. How about that solo in Aqualung? Crazy good. Number 32, all the way from Ireland. How about the late Rory Gallagher on the Stratocaster? Tattooed Lady, great tune. Love Rory. Number 31, from Yes. How about Steve Howe? Siberian Khatru, Close to the Edge. Man, so many great tunes. What a player, could do it all. Coming in at number 30, Mr. Brian May from Queen. All right. March of the Black Queen, Son and Daughter from the first album. Great tunes. Great player. Very original player. Coming in at number 29, how about Frank Zappa? The Mad Genius. Inca Roads, anybody? Great tune. Great guitar solo. Number 28, Mr. Pat Travers. Love Pat Travers. Gotta give a shout out to Pat Thrall too. Pat Travers, how about Go All Night? One of my favorite Travers tunes. Killer player. Bluesy, funky, hard rock. Great player. Number 27, how about Steve Hackett from Genesis? Firth of Fifth. All right. Fountain of Selmasis. Watcher of the Skies. Supper's Ready. Man, underrated player. Great classical player. He could play some really cool, unique electric guitar solos. Great player. Number 26, no list would be complete without Mr. Edward Van Halen. All right. Somebody get me a doctor, why don't you? Pioneer, right? A pioneer. Number 25. How about Alex Lifeson from Rush? I have, he's one of those guys I think throughout my life I've always kind of taken for granted his playing. But man, what a killer player he is. Crafted unique solos in so many of those songs, all right? Just nothing he ever did was run-of-the-mill, in my opinion. Xanadu, perfect example, right? Number 24, Mr. Buck Dharma from Blue Oyster Cult. How about a little Subhuman action, right? Astronomy. Great player. Number 23, getting down to the top 20 here, Mr. John Sykes from Whitesnake, Thin Lizzy, Blue Murder. How about a little Still of the Night? How about a little Crying in the Rain? Valley of the Kings, all right? A great player who, God, is frustrating the hell out of all of us. He's been gone for so long. Get that damn album out, dude, for crying out loud. The reason why John Sykes is not one of the top guitar players in the world over the last 25 years is his own. It's like, God, dude, manage your career a little better. You should be like one of the top guys. Instead, everybody's forgotten about you because you just can't get your career going again. It's like, God, don't get it. Don't get it. Coming in at number 22, the legend Robert Fripp from King Crimson. How about Lark's Tongues and Aspic Part 1 or Part 2 or Red? God, so many great tunes, right? Killer player, another pioneer, unique player. Number 21, another one. John McLaughlin from Mahavishnu Orchestra, also with Miles Davis, also with Tony Williams' Lifetime. Another pioneer, man, a legend. How about the Noonward Race? What a killer tune from Mahavishnu's first album. All right. Number 20, a guy who changed everything for me for a while in the 80s, Yngwie Malmsteen. Right? That first Alcatraz album, those first couple solo albums. Man, I am a Viking, people. Number 19, another fusion guy. I love a lot of fusion guys. Frank Gambale from Down Under. All right. Got started out in Chick Corea's Electric Band. A lot of solo stuff. He's also been in Return to Forever and reimagined Return to Forever later on. The Natives Are Restless, a great solo tune of his. Some killer guitar, man. The sweep picking nonsense. Incredible. Number 18, a guy that I just love more and more as I go on and get older here. He's a guy who's captured me from the last 20 years, 25 years. Warren Haynes. Man, I loved him in the Allman Brothers. I love Government Mule. I love his solo stuff. Just such a killer player. One of the best blues rock players we've got out there. But he can do anything. Can do anything. How about Mother Earth from the first Government Mule album? Love Warren, man. Number 17, Mr. Steve Lukather. All right. From Toto. Jake to the Bone. Great instrumental from that band. How about Goodbye Girl? All right. How about that end solo to Rosanna? What a player. What a player. Number 16, this guy, another really unique guy that's in a mega band that has a million hits, and I think a lot of people take for granted how great of a guitar player he always has been. Got his start in Santana, of course. You know I'm talking about Neil Schon. All right? He is amazing. Amazing. Edge of the Blade. Okay? One of my favorite Journey tunes. Rippin', Wheel in the Sky. Great solos, man. Just such a killer player. All right, where did I leave off here? How about let's go to number 15. Jeff Beck, for fuck's sake. All right, got to have Jeff Beck on this list. 'Cause We've Ended as Lovers, Freeway Jam. How about the solo to It Gets Us All in the End? Man, Rampage and Stratocaster fury on that song. All right. Number 14, Mr. Steve Vai. I love Steve Vai. You know, I don't always like his music, but I love his playing. He is like a absolute genius on the guitar, right? But because I guess he's always just really wanted to do his own thing is generally pretty damn good. And sometimes some of his music is a little dense, but I love his playing. I think I could just sit and watch that guy play all day. For the love of God, is he good, right? Where else? Where do we leave off? Number 13 from ZZ Top. Got to have Billy Gibbons on this list. Tastiest player in history, I think. Brown Sugar, anyone? Right? Love him. Number 12. Another may he rest in peace from this list. Again, a guy that I just love more and more as I get older. Terry Kath from Chicago. He was fucking great. So ahead of his time. Poem 58 off that first Chicago album. Anything off that first Chicago Transit Authority album. All right? If you hear Chicago and all you think is, oh my God, all those 80s hits, man, you got to listen to the early stuff. Terry Kath, people. All right, number 11. Another fusion favorite of mine, Alda Meola. Solo artist. Also made a name with Return to Forever. So many great De Meola tracks. Race with the Devil on Spanish Highway. Great solo track of his. How about the Romantic Warrior from Return to Forever? Just a great player. Man, him and that Gibson Les Paul. Woof. Love it. Burning. Number 10. Steve Morse. From the Dixie Dregs, from the Steve Morse Band, from Kansas, and of course, the last 25 years or close to it with Deep Purple. How about Odyssey? What a great tune Odyssey is. So many great Morse tunes. Number 9, the legend, perhaps the greatest, most gifted guitar player of all time, could be. If he isn't, he's definitely in the top 2 or 3. Allan Holdsworth. How about his great Devil Take the Hindmost? Okay. Off the Metal Fatigue album. How about In the Dead of Night? From his one album he did with UK. God, he's got great stuff with Jean-Luc Ponty and Tony Williams' Lifetime and Soft Machine. And, man, so many great tunes, great solos. Number 8, Frank Marino from Frank Marino Mahogany Rush. Possibly the greatest guitar player to ever come out of Canada. How about The Answer? What an amazing player. Still an amazing player. Number 7, a longtime favorite of mine, Mr. Robin Trower. Ex of Procol Harum, longtime solo artist. How about 2 Rolling Stones? Specifically off that Robin Trower live album. One of the best blues rock players I've ever heard. I love him. Where are we at? Number 6, Uli John Roth. Ex of the Scorpions, longtime solo career guy. Mixes his love of Hendrix with classical music and heavy metal and blues. A trailblazer. How about the Sails of Charon, right? Any of that early Scorpion stuff. Virgin Killer. Fly to the Rainbow. All great stuff. Polar Nights. What a player. Number 5, this guy has been climbing. You know, I always kind of have this list in my head, always. And I have for decades. I've always been kind of like grading and rating guitar players. And this guy, I've always loved. But if we would have done this exercise like 20 years ago, he would have been way further down. He is every year climbing higher and higher and higher and higher on my list. And I think he's going to continue to do that because I find as I'm getting older, I fall more in love with his playing, with his recordings, with all the million live recordings that are out there that I keep accumulating. Jimi Hendrix. My love for Hendrix just continues to grow, like almost every day. And Machine Gun, my go-to track. So many great ones, you know. Voodoo Child. I mean, so many great Hendrix performances. All right, my top 4. My top 4 has not changed in 30 years, probably. 35 years. Has not changed. Number 4, Michael Schenker. The master of the Flying V. Of course, ex of UFO. Also, Michael Schenker Group. Macaulay Schenker Group. Michael Schenker's Temple of Rock. Michael Schenker Fest. Whatever, right? The master of the Flying V. I love him. Rock Bottom. What a great solo in that song. So many great tunes from UFO and from this solo catalog. Amazing. Number 3, another guy left us way too soon. I've loved him so much since the day I first heard him, and I miss him every day. And Gary Moore. How about End of the World? All right. Messiah Will Come Again. Don't Take Me for a Loser. Murder in the Skies. So many great songs. Gary, I miss you. That album he did with Thin Lizzy, right? Ugh. My number 2, the Riff Master. In fact, my number 1 and my number 2 are both from my number 1 and my number 2 bands. Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath. You know, a lot of these other guys, I love the way they create solos and songs and things like that. And for me, Tony, while a great soloist as well and a killer songwriter, he is the greatest writer of riffs that has ever lived. And I've always been fascinated by the way this guy just churns out one memorable riff after another. You know, Snowblind, Heaven and Hell, Hole in the Sky, War Pigs, Children of the Grave, N.I.B., After Forever, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. We can go on and on and on. Man, this guy just... most important guitar player. Probably for me, as a kind of, you know, amateur, shitty-ass guitar player who plays at home and that's it, and has for, 40 some odd years. I think that Iommi was probably the most important guitar player for me as far as like what I play and, growing up and all that kind of stuff. So important to me. My number 1 guy, again, like I said, this top 4 has not changed in like 35 years, maybe a little more than that. My number 1 guy, I'm basing, all of this on the stuff he did with his first 2 bands, okay? Because to me it's timeless. And not much for me will ever top it. Ritchie Blackmore. The stuff he did with Deep Purple and Rainbow slays me. I don't really care for, Blackmore's Night, the more acoustic, minstrel, medieval stuff he's doing now. Doesn't really do it for me, but for me, Deep Purple, I like the Mark I stuff, but Deep Purple Mark II, III, okay, and all the Rainbow stuff, especially Rainbow Mark II, okay, the Rainbow Rising Band. I like the Joe Lynn Turner stuff too. I like the Grant Bonham stuff, but that to me is sacred, okay. So, and I love the dangerous nature of Blackmore's playing. It's just awesome, awesome. And we got, of course, a spam phone call. Hold on a second. I don't know about you guys, but I get spam calls all day long. All day long. It's never ending. Never ending. They need to fucking go away. That's a rant for another day. Anyway, yeah, there's an element of danger that Blackmore always kind of brought to the table that I really loved, whether it was in the studio or live. You never kind of knew which way he was going to go next, right? And so many great tunes, Child in Time, Stargazer, Burn, Stormbringer, Black Knight, God, Highway Star. He created Smoke on the Water, for crying out loud. One of the most iconic riffs of all time. Just an amazing player. He's my number one of all time. So there you have it. All right. Blackmore, Iommi, Moore, Schenker, Hendrix, Roth, Trower, Marino, Holdsworth, Morse, Meola, Cath, Gibbons, Vai, Beck, Schoen, Lukather, Haynes, Gambale, Malmsteen, McLaughlin, Fripp, Sykes, Dharma, Lifeson, Van Halen, Hackett, Travers, Zappa, May, Howe, Gallagher, Barr, Gilmore, Rhodes, Page, Petrucci, Bonamassa, Norum, Romeo, Govan, Powell, Farner, Taylor, and Nugent. Again, I know I'm leaving stuff out. There's guys out of here that I love as well, Jesus, George Lynch, Chris Oliva. I don't want to forget, they're buddies of mine, so it's like kind of weird to put them on this list, but, Jeff Young and Chris Caffrey, okay? So many great guys. There's so many great players. Marty Friedman, Jason Becker in his heyday, Paul Gilbert, for crying out loud, Buckethead, for crying out loud. I can go on with honorable mentions. Like I said, I love all these guys. You can't do all of them, right? As someone who loves guitar players, I could sit here and the list could be hundreds. So I know I'm forgetting a bunch, but these are the ones that mean the most to me. All right, so this is on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. More fun stuff coming up this week, and then next week we continue on with round 3 of the Classic Live Album War Tournament, so don't miss any of it. Let us know what your top 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 guitar players are. Remember, there's no right or wrong answers here, guys. It's based on whatever you prefer. All right, so list yours. Good to see everybody sharing stuff because I love talking about guitar players, right? So maybe some other time we'll do vocalists, we can do keyboard players, drummers, all that kind of stuff, bass players. I got lists up the yin-yang, right? So we'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.